Welcome to the Live Free, Love Life podcast, where we discuss how to create more freedom so we can love our lives no matter what we're going through. Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome to today's episode of the Live Free, Love Life podcast. As you know, in this podcast, we talk about all of the things that are keeping us stuck and trapped and how to break free from those so that we can live the life of our dreams, so that we can have joy no matter what we're going through. Life is full of unexpected twists and turns that can leave us feeling trapped or overwhelmed. We often find ourselves shackled by thoughts and beliefs that hold us back. And some of these, which we're going to talk more about in a minute, are arguing with reality, wishing things were different, complaining about circumstances, trying to control things that are outside of our control. These mental shackles can keep us stuck, preventing us from living a fulfilling life. And one powerful question that can help us break free and avoid getting stuck in the first place is, what are my options? This simple yet profound question opens the door to possibility, empowering us to take control of our lives and make choices that align with our values and goals. So let's talk about what those shackles look like. We've kind of discussed them briefly, and there's more. So let's talk about them in a little more detail. The first one is arguing with reality. This is when we deny the truth of a situation. It keeps us trapped in frustration as we waste energy on what we cannot change. We're truly arguing with what is rather than accepting what is. That is shackle number one, arguing with reality. Shackle number two, wishing things were different. Now, the funny thing about this one, there are ways to dream of the future we want to create without wishing things were different. It's the wishing things were different that gets us in trouble. It's looking for an alternate reality, which leads to dissatisfaction and prevents us from appreciating the present and creating what we want in the future. Shackle number three, thinking things should be different. This is when we're holding on to our rigid beliefs of what life should look like. And it creates disappointment and resentment. There are no shoulds. You've probably heard me say this like 100 times by now. There are no shoulds. When we hold on to those rigid beliefs about what things should look like, we cause ourselves problems. We shackle ourselves. Shackle number four, complaining about how things are. When we focus on complaints without seeking solutions, it keeps us stuck in a cycle of negativity. Shackle number five, trying to control the uncontrollable. When we attempt to manage our external circumstances, this includes other people. I know your brain wants to think you can control how other people behave, but you can't. We cannot control other people. And the more we try to control what they think and what they feel and how they behave, or all of our other external circumstances that truly are outside of our control, this leaves us feeling powerless and exhausted. Shackle number six is dwelling on the past. When we obsess over our past mistakes, it prevents us from moving forward and it prevents us from personal growth. And number seven, fearing the future. Worrying about potential outcomes leads to anxiety and inaction, keeping us from taking steps forward. Now, this is probably not an exhaustive list. This is just the seven that came right really fast off the top of my head, but they can all be fixed by this one simple question. What are my options? That is how powerful it is. It can break us free from every one of those shackles. Now, I want to read them one more time really fast so that you can just, as I'm reading it, I want you to think about how often you are indulging in some of these shackles so that you can really see how often you are keeping yourself stuck, keeping yourself trapped, keeping yourself from living the life that you truly desire. Arguing with reality, wishing things were different, thinking things should be different, complaining about how things are, trying to control things that are not within your control, dwelling on the past, fearing the future. The more we do those things, the more we keep ourselves stuck. So asking, what are my options? This shifts our mindset from a victim mentality to one of empowerment. It encourages us to look beyond our immediate circumstances and consider alternative paths. This question reframes our thinking, turning obstacles into opportunities for growth and change. It helps us move forward rather than keeping ourselves stuck. And notice, I haven't said anything about whatever it is that you think the problem is. We're not putting our focus on what our brain thinks is the problem. We're putting our focus on solutions. So I'm not telling you that all these things that your brain thinks are a problem, I'm not telling you they're not a problem. I'm not telling you that you should think they're not a problem. We're not saying, hey, this thing that I think is a problem, I should think is wonderful. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you, you can ask yourself this very simple question about any of these. Go back through the shackles again, look at them. Anytime you're doing any one of these things, if you just say, okay, well, what are my options? It puts your mind into a totally different place where you can move forward instead of staying stuck. When faced with a challenging situation, breaking down your options into specific categories can provide clarity and direction. So I want to break this down further. When we think about what are my options, here are 5 categories to consider. Category 1, stay where you are, which is probably stuck and miserable. Sometimes we choose to remain in a difficult situation because it feels familiar or safe. However, this option often leads to continued dissatisfaction and stagnation. So, is it an option? Of course. You can stay stuck and miserable as long as you want to. It is an option. You could do nothing. Okay, that is an option. We want to make sure always that all options are on the table for us to consider. Generally, when we consider that option, we don't really like it very much. So then we move to option number 2, change your circumstances. This involves taking proactive steps to alter your environment or your situation. It could mean changing jobs, ending a toxic relationship, or moving to a new location. This is one of the categories of where our options lie. We can change our circumstances. Okay. Category number 3 is change your thoughts. The way we perceive a situation determines how we feel about it. How we feel about it determines what actions we take, what inactions we take. By changing our thoughts, our mindsets, our paradigms, we can feel peace and joy regardless of our circumstance. This is a really good choice. This category, change your thoughts, is a really good option when you can't change your circumstances, right? Let's say you get in a car accident and you lose an arm. Well, you can't change the circumstance of not having an arm. It's gone. That is not a circumstance you can change. Sometimes these are categories. Sometimes all categories are not available. So when change your circumstance isn't an option, change your thoughts is an amazing option. It's an amazing option always, but especially when you can't change your circumstances. Okay, category 4 is to change your actions. Taking different actions can lead to new outcomes. This might involve setting boundaries, seeking help, or learning new skills. You're going to do something different. And option number 5, which is generally my favorite, is a combination of 2, 3, and 4, which is a combination of changing my circumstances, changing my thoughts, and changing my actions. It's looking at all the categories because I'm really looking at what are my options. Truly, what are all of them? Now, here is how to use it in real life. So, example number 1, let's look at a relationship challenge. So, let's say the situation is you feel unfulfilled in your relationship, constantly wishing your partner would change. Who's been there? Everyone raise your hand because all of us at some point or another, some of us more often than others, wish our partner would change. Okay, so let's go through each category. Number 1, stay where you are, which means you just continue feeling frustrated and resentful. You keep trying to control the uncontrollable, right? You keep trying to change your partner. It keeps not working. You keep getting more and more frustrated. Option number 1, we just keep doing what we're doing. Option number 2, change your circumstance. You could consider things. Now, this depends entirely upon your relationship challenges. So I just was thinking of things that people could do to change their circumstances. They could consider things like living in separate houses. I know a lot of blended families, they'll do that. Like mom lives in this house with her kids, dad lives in this house with his kids because it's easier for their blended family situation. They're still married, they still do things together, but they live separately. Interesting, right? It's just to change your circumstances. Separating your finances, right? A lot of relationship problems are about money. Maybe you could consider separating your finances. It's just then we have a different circumstance to have thoughts about. If you never have thoughts about how they are spending what you consider to be your money, right? You change your circumstances and that automatically changes your thoughts because you're thinking about different things. You could consider ending the relationship. This is a really good choice when we think about changing our circumstance, right? Okay, category 2, change your thoughts. This is where we challenge everything you're thinking. How is this not true? How is the opposite of this true? What else could be true? It's focusing on what you love about your partner. It's practicing gratitude. You're literally changing what goes through your head in regards to your partner and your relationship. Category 4, change your actions. Show up as the partner that you want them to be, right? If you're thinking like, I wish I had a partner who did this, 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 and this, well, then be that kind of partner. Actions could include like setting boundaries. It could include finding ways to show love and appreciation. It could include working on your communication skills, right? These are all changing your actions. And of course, a combination. You could hire a coach to help you. Yay. You could challenge your thinking. You could choose what you want to think on purpose. You could actively work on your communication. Often the combination is the best choice. We don't have to just do one of the categories. It's like, let's attack this from all angles because there's lots of ways that I could approach this problem and move forward. What are my options? Okay. Example number 2, let's talk about career dissatisfaction. So the situation is you are unhappy in your current job, but fear making a change. Okay. So option 1, stay where you are. You do nothing. You remain in a job that doesn't fulfill you. You don't change any of your thoughts or actions, and you probably end up burnt out. Okay. Option 2, change your circumstances. You could explore other job opportunities or consider further education. Change your thoughts. Again, same as last time. Challenge your thoughts. How is this not true? How is the opposite true? What else could be true? Reframe your perspective by focusing on the skills and experience you're getting, right? You're shifting your paradigm. You're shifting the way you look at your job, the way you look at your coworkers, the way you look at your boss, the way you look at your tasks. Change your thoughts. And literally any of these could work all by themselves because change your thoughts works all by itself all the time. Change your circumstance works all the time because you're not in the same circumstance to have thoughts that create your misery. It's always our thoughts that create our misery. But sometimes it's easier to just change the circumstance and change your thoughts. And we don't want to necessarily we're not doing that like as a cop out. We're not doing it because we don't want to do the hard work. It's because, hey, you only have so much brain energy and you get to choose what you want to manage your mind about. Sometimes it's easier to change your circumstances and use that brain energy to manage your mind over here about this other thing, right? Like you end your relationship so you can manage your mind about your business. Sometimes it's a lot of mind management if you're managing your mind about all the things in your life. That's why sometimes we do want to change our circumstance, but you really can change most of your, fix most of your problems just by changing your thoughts. All right, change your actions. Show up as the kind of employee that you would want working for you, right? You start showing up and being the very best employee you could be. You will be amazed at how just changing your own actions, focusing on yourself, will change things for you. You could network with professionals in your desired field. You could take on new projects at work. I mean, there's lots of ways to change your actions that could change your situation. And then there's a combination. You could seek new job opportunities while shifting your mindset and expanding your skills, right? That's all 3. It's like, I would like to start looking at ways to change my circumstance. In the meantime, I'm going to start changing my thoughts and I'm going to start expanding my skills, which is changing my actions. Amazing. Okay. Example number 3. This is in personal growth. The situation is you feel stuck in a cycle of negative self-talk and self-doubt. So this is a lot of you out there. You have lots of negative thoughts about yourself and you doubt yourself. You're really not sure that you can do things. Okay. Option 1, stay where you are. Continue feeling inadequate and unworthy. Category 2, change your circumstances. You could surround yourself with supportive, positive influences, people that fill you up and help you to start thinking better thoughts about yourself because those are the thoughts they think about you and they share them with you. Category 3, change your thoughts. Challenge your negative self-talk. Replace it with affirmations and I am statements that you want to believe about yourself. Give yourself permission to believe in yourself, to believe that you can go do that thing. Category 4, change your actions. You could engage in personal development activities like coaching, reading, journaling, or attending workshops. And the combination, option 5, category 5, you could cultivate a supportive environment, practice positive self-talk, and actively pursue personal growth. Don't you love the combination? It's really fun, right? Okay, here are some practical steps to apply the what are my options mindset, okay? I love to break everything down for you so it's as easy as possible. So number 1, identify the situation. Clearly define the issue or challenge you're facing. Step 2, list your options. Write down all possible options within all 5 categories. When you're brainstorming, think of all the things you could do rather than things you want to do or that you're willing to do. Now, let me give you an example of this. This is what I use with my brain all the time. When I start a could list, I always start it with something totally outrageous, something I would never do. And I'll tell you why in a second. So for example, if I was like, okay, how can I get more clients? What are my options? Well, I could run down Main Street, butt naked, screaming at the top of my lungs. It would get a lot of people's attention. And then I could tell them I'm a life coach and how I can help them. Okay. That is something I could do. And I write it on my list. This part is really important. You have to write it down. because that tells your brain that anything is possible. It tells your brain, oh, don't censor. Because what most of us do all the time, our brain gives us ideas and we're like, no, that's a dumb idea. No, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. And then soon your brain's like, fine, you don't like any of my ideas. Why would I give you any more? And then it feels like we don't have options. We put ourselves into a place where it feels like we don't have options. Because think about if you did this with a person. If they were giving you all these ideas, I mean, if you were giving them all these ideas and they're like, no, 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 like you just stop giving them ideas. Our brains do the same thing. So when I write this down, this thing I'm never going to do, I'm never going to run down the street naked to get clients. Well, I would never do it anyway, but for sure not to get clients. When I write it down, my brain's like, oh, well, if that's on the table, I got 12 more where that came from. And I start writing down all the crazy ideas because these are just things I could do. They're not things I want to do. They're not things I'm going to do or I'm willing to do. They're just things I could do. And then we get to exhaust all the ideas that your brain actually has. Your brain is super, super, super powerful. Let's use its capability for you to really look at your options. You might have a whole list of things that you're never going to do, but one of those things might spark a new idea of something that is an awesome solution to this problem, something you never would have thought of in a million years had you not gone through this exercise. Okay. So that was 2. List your options. Be willing to really look at all your options. Step number 3, evaluate each option. Consider the potential outcomes, benefits, and drawbacks. This may be where you start crossing things off that could list that you're like, I'm not going to do that because I could get arrested and that would not be good. Okay. Step 4, choose a path. Select the options that align with your values and goals. So you're really thinking about who you want to be and you're considering your options based on that, on your values, on your goals, on that person you want to be in the world. Step number 5, take action. Implement your chosen option or options with commitment and determination. And step 6, reflect and adjust. Regularly assess your progress and make adjustments as needed. Okay, here are some questions to consider. In what areas of your life do you feel stuck or dissatisfied? How often do you find yourself arguing with reality or wishing things were different? What options have you not considered in your current situation? How can changing your thoughts or actions lead to positive change? And what steps can you take today to explore your options and break free from feeling stuck? Asking, what are my options, is a powerful tool for breaking free from the mental shackles that hold us back. By exploring our choices and taking proactive steps, we can navigate life's challenges with resilience and find true freedom. You do not have to wait until you're miserable to use this question. The more you ask it, the more freedom you will create for yourself. So one really fun exercise you could try is every time you feel negative emotion, our negative emotion is just a signal from ourselves to pay attention. We have a message for ourselves. That's all negative emotions are. Whenever you notice a negative emotion, just stop and ask, okay, what are my options? You always have options. Always, always, always. Embrace them and live life to the fullest. Live free, live life. Thank you for watching this episode of Live Free, Love Life. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, comment, and share. See you next time.